Hey Staten Island, this is HealthWish, a conversation about the state of healthcare in the fabulous 5th borough. Our aim is to raise issues, raise awareness, and raise health. Because when we raise health, we raise everyone.
Today, from Engine Company 155, Ladder 78 in New Brighton, HealthWish is chatting with Dr. Michael Cooper, Director of the Jerome L. Finkelstein MD Regional Burn Unit, and with retired firefighter Frank Morisano, who leads SAUH's community health efforts. This first episode of 2 begins with a tribute to fallen firefighter Robert Ryan, and moves to a conversation with Dr. Cooper about the importance of having a viable burn service on Staten Island, not only for burn care, but for the care of chronic, often life-threatening wounds and skin disorders. Give a listen.
Paul, so when I walk in here, the first thing I notice is this majestic table. Tell me about this table.
Well, this table was built by a firefighter who's retired now. Guy Sconzo, a very talented guy, carpenter, and took him months, maybe even a year. So it's in honor of Bobby Ryan. We use it daily, you can see, so it's not just a work of art, it's a working table that we sit at and eat, and it reminds us of Bobby Ryan. We're very proud of it. It's kind of the centerpiece of the whole firehouse.
Behind you over there, there's a book that's open to a certain page, and it has a bunch of dates and times on it. What's the significance of that?
Well, that's the page, or the day of 9/11. They had a recall in the fire department, and wherever you happen to be that particular day, you're supposed to come back to your quarters and then get your assignment of what you're going to have to do. Sign in the book and say that you're here for the recall, and responded to such and such a box, which was the World Trade Center.
So I think the reason I wanted to bring it up is, it's easy to forget that, it's 21 years ago, but at the end of the day, something happened and people ran towards danger. For me, that represents what firefighters are all about. Hey Staten Island, welcome to HealthWish. I'm here with Dr. Michael Cooper and Frank Morisano, and we're coming to you from Engine 155, Ladder 78 in Staten Island, affectionately known as the Hot Corner, and for a lot of people known as the house forever of Bobby Ryan, who's one of our fallen heroes on Staten Island. And they were nice enough to actually host us as we talk to you today about burns, which of course is something that's a really important thing for all firefighters. And many of you may not know this, but Frank Morisano, actually I'm not sure who doesn't know that. Frank Morisano is a firefighter.
I am retired firefighter, Engine 28, Ladder 11 in Manhattan.
And of course, Dr. Michael Cooper, anyone who's been involved with burn in Staten Island knows that Dr. Cooper has been really instrumental in the progression of burn in Staten Island for many, many years.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have a lot to talk about, but the real reason we're actually here is because the burn unit is finally undergoing a renovation. And I thought it would be a great place to start just to talk about the unit itself and to kind of give an idea of where we are right now. But that's the first place I'd like to start in terms of COVID. So COVID forced you for a while to have no operation, and then after that for a substantial period of time to run like an operation, but to do it differently. So how did COVID impact your ability to care for patients over that period of time?
Well, we were very fortunate that our nurses and our therapists and social workers are uniquely trained to deal with critical patients. So with the COVID crisis, our nurses stepped up and they cared for those very sick patients. And we continue to care for burn patients on our pediatric and our med-surg floors. And then when we had very large burns, the surgical intensive care unit, which was housed in the burn space for a while, was able to help us take care of those patients. So we have continued to take care of burn patients throughout the pandemic, but we're very excited to have the burn space open again.
There's a lot of people that don't really know the story of how a burn unit ended up on Staten Island. And you've been involved really from the very beginning. Can you take us back to the beginning and kind of tell us how it happened?
Well, sure. Dr. Jerome Finkelstein had been in a burn unit in Manhattan for 20 years, and he saw the need to have a burn unit here in Staten Island. Staten Island is uniquely situated to take care of patients both at Staten Island as well as in Brooklyn, but we receive patients throughout the tri-state area. And so Dr. Finkelstein, with the help of the Orthodox community, petitioned the New York State Health Department, and they agreed there was a need to have specialized care in Staten Island. And we were very fortunate in 1998 to open the burn unit here. Since that time, again, we've cared for obviously Staten Islanders, but patients from Brooklyn, from Queens, the tri-state area, even as far as New Jersey and the Bronx.
So we lost Jerry in 2007. And I remember that. I'd come to Staten Island University Hospital in 2004, and I distinctly remember his loss, but I also remember what he was like. And so I don't think anyone knew him better than you. So I'm curious, just tell me about Jerry. Who was Jerry?
Yeah, I was very fortunate to train with him as a resident. I was his burn fellow, and then when he came to Staten Island, he asked me to come join him. Jerry was a great surgeon, interested in all burns, but certainly specialized in pediatric surgery. But outside of the hospital, he was very interested in different cultures, both here in the United States as well as Europe. He was interested in languages, and he loved the Mets. And I'm from the Bronx, so I would love the Yankees.
There you go.
And so we would have a friendly back and forth. But we had common ground because Boston.
Everyone hates Boston.
Yeah. But yeah, just a give you the shirt off his back type of guy, was friends to everyone and very generous.
And I remember specifically his demeanor with children.
Oh, he was the best with children. He was about 5'6", and so I think they had an affinity toward him, and vice versa. He would often have a little toy with him. He would often speak in affected voice that children took to, and he just brightened. And as a matter of fact, there was a sign outside the burn unit with a picture of him and a pediatric patient, and his eyes would just would bright up every time he talked about it, lectured about it, or treated a pediatric patient.
So we found this picture, which we thought was really special, and I will tell you that we'll show the picture to you at home. You have a slightly younger appearing Vito Fossella Jr., who's obviously now back as our borough president. But there's several remarkable things in this photo, but there's a slightly younger version of Dr. Cooper with Jerry there and some children. Do you remember what this was?
Yeah, this was the 4th birthday, if you will, of the Burn Center, and we're very fortunate to have now Borough President Fossella, who was always a friend to the burn service. And I'm actually holding a 4-year-old patient who's now a nurse who rotated through the burn service during her nursing rotation. So things have really come full circle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really amazing. And this is what I love about being on Staten Island, where that's even possible, right? So there's a young lady who actually was on the burn service and now rotated through the burn service as a nursing student. That's crazy.
Yeah, and she said that she remembered being on the burn service as a child, and that's one of the reasons that she went into nursing. So that's really inspiring.
Thank you. I love it. It's really a special photo. So give me a sense of the burn unit today. What is the population that it serves, and how important is it to the people of South Brooklyn and Staten Island?
Well, the burn unit is a 10-bedded intensive care unit. We often have more than 10 patients. So in addition to the 10 patients in the burn center, we have patients on the pediatric floor as well as the med-surg floors. The burn service takes care of burn patients, obviously, but it's also extended our service to really chronic and extensive wounds, such as Stevens-Johnson syndrome, toxic epidermal necrolysis syndrome, but also things like necrotizing fasciitis, which is an overwhelming infection which leaves really large disfiguring wounds that Dr. Long, who's a plastic surgeon, myself, we're very trained and very comfortable treating large wounds reconstructive-wise. We treat other things like hidradenitis, which is also an infection that's really debilitating to many young patients. So the Burn Center is really a comprehensive place. Not only do we have the burn surgeons, we have specialized nursing, we have physical therapists, specialized social workers to really address many times socioeconomic issues that the patients who come to us have. We often will refer patients who've come in with other medical conditions. So in addition to surgeries, there may be someone with a seizure disorder. And we don't just want to treat the burns, we want the patients to thrive when they leave the burn service. So we make sure that they're connected with their medical doctors. If they have uncontrolled diabetes and have foot burns because they have decreased feeling, we want them to heal from their burn wound, but also we want them to follow with their medical doctor. So the burn service is really a comprehensive unit, and we've been very fortunate to have the support of the administration of the hospital, which has supported us since 1998. We're very excited about the next few years.
So you hit a very critically important point, right? I think it's important that we highlight. So having a burn unit and a burn service that is aggressive about taking care of certain kinds of patients is not just about specifically burns, right? So the reason that burns are a problem is because they violate the integrity of your skin, which is an incredibly important organ to keep you healthy. Not that different than when you have these horrible skin disorders like you described, hurt you in ways that are very similar to burns. So having a good burn service actually allows you to take care of a lot of these hardcore skin disorders that actually, some of them have horrible mortality rates, and people are, their lives are permanently changed or ended because of these conditions. Is that a good way of describing it?
Yeah, that's correct. The experience that we have with burn patients, some of the burn patients have very large skin losses, from thermal injuries, and we've used that knowledge and experience to help treat some of the other complex wounds. And as you said, some of these other diseases that have really high mortality rates. But we've been able to have a really good success with those patients. So it's not only for burns now, but it's a place that we have the experience, again, with the surgeons, with the nurses, with the therapists, social work, nutrition, just a team effort to take care of really complex wounds.
And that's where we'll pick up next time. We turn to Frank Morisano to learn about the community health team's efforts to tackle food insecurity, youth empowerment, and to better meet the healthcare needs of civil service workers. Don't miss it. HealthWish wishes to thank our very special guests, Dr. Michael Cooper and Mr. Frank Morisano. We're interested in your health wish. Contact us at healthwish@northwell.edu. Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again soon.